Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
You've been sold a fantasy, and it's killing your progress. They told you all you had to do was think positively, visualize, speak it into existence. And you believe them. You journaled, meditated, made vision boards. You lit candles. You repeated affirmations like mantras. But the money didn't come. The relationship didn't change. The life you saw so clearly in your mind never showed up. You didn't fail. You were following a broken map. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. Here's the raw truth. Most of what you've been taught about manifestation is commercialized spiritual junk food. Sweet on the surface, empty underneath. It sells you a dream and leaves you spiritually malnourished. And the worst part, it convinces you that you are the problem, that you didn't believe hard enough, that your energy was off, that you didn't want it enough. But what if the real block isn't your belief at all? What if you're running a script you didn't write, a pattern so deep it hides even from your conscious awareness? Because the real reason your manifestation isn't working isn't what you think. And no, this isn't another just heal your inner child sermon either. This goes deeper. Beneath the affirmations. Beneath the vision boards. Into the machine behind the machine. Stay with me. By the end of this, something that never made sense before finally will. Just stay positive. Raise your vibration. Act as if it's already yours. Sounds good, doesn't it? Clean. Easy. Digestible. The kind of thing you can slap on an Instagram post and get 1,000 likes. But it's a half truth, and half truths are dangerous. Here's the dirty little secret. Thinking positive doesn't rewire survival programming. You can't attract abundance when your subconscious is hoarding like it's still in a famine. Because while you're on the surface saying, I am wealthy, deeper down, your body's saying, we're not safe. And your subconscious listens to the body, not the words. This is the root of the frustration so many feel. You're doing everything right. You're visualizing. You're scripting. You're saying the right things. But it's not working. And it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been handed a tool set without the instructions for how your mind actually operates. Manifestation isn't magic. It's not the universe playing favorites. It's cause and effect, filtered through the most powerful algorithm on earth, your subconscious mind. And if you're not working with it, you're working against it. This isn't about blaming yourself. This is about seeing clearly, for the first time, that what you've been taught is a sanitized, surface-level version of something much older, much deeper, and much more powerful. And the real shift, that's coming. Keep watching. Your mind has a bouncer. It decides what gets in, what gets ignored, and what gets deleted entirely. It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS. And it's not spiritual, it's biological. It's been filtering your reality since before you could speak. Here's what no one tells you. Your RAS doesn't care what you say you want. It only cares about what you've repeatedly shown it matters. That's why you can say, I'm successful, I'm wealthy, 1,000 times. But if your lived reality is stress, bills, fear, and struggle, your RAS tags that as important and filters your world to match it. It's not sabotage. It's adaptation. Think about it. Ever bought a new car and suddenly you see that car everywhere? That's your Ross. You didn't magically create more of that car in the world. You just trained your brain to notice it. Now flip that. If your entire life you've been conditioned to notice lack, danger, betrayal, failure, guess what you keep seeing? Guess what becomes invisible, even when it's right in front of you? This is why affirmations alone don't work. Your Ross isn't influenced by what you want to believe. It's programmed by repetition, emotion, and what you've emotionally survived. And here's the kicker. Most of this programming happened when you were too young to understand it. Which means your brain's filter, the one shaping your reality, is probably running on outdated settings from a childhood you didn't choose. This isn't just neuroscience. This is survival logic. And unless you update that filter, no vision board in the world is going to change what you attract. But don't worry, we're not stopping here. Because the Ross is just the start. The real roots go deeper, into the parts of you that were never taught to dream. Keep watching. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not bad at manifesting. You're protecting yourself. See, your brain doesn't prioritize success. It prioritizes safety. And if you grew up in chaos, trauma, or constant unpredictability, your system equates struggle with safety because at least you survived it. That's the twisted paradox. You're not manifesting what you want. You're manifesting what's familiar. And familiar doesn't mean good. It just means known. If love used to feel like control or abandonment, you might unconsciously reject stable relationships. If money was always tied to conflict or guilt, you might sabotage financial breakthroughs before they fully form. If visibility once led to punishment, no wonder success feels suffocating. This is why it feels like you're stuck in loops. Same pain, different faces. You change the job, change the city, change the partner, yet somehow, it's like life keeps glitching in the same places. Because it's not about the external, it's about the script. And those scripts, they're written in the nervous system, not the journal. You don't overwrite them with a new mantra. You interrupt them with new experiences. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Healing isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it feels like chaos. Because your nervous system is learning how to live without the struggle it was trained to expect. That's the friction most people mistake for failure. They hit resistance and say, "This must not be working." But what if that's the exact moment it is working? What if that discomfort isn't a sign to stop, but a sign you're finally rewiring the pattern? This isn't about fixing yourself. You were never broken. This is about finally understanding why your reality keeps pulling you back into the familiar, no matter how far you try to escape it. And once you see that clearly, everything changes. But you're still only scratching the surface. What if the key isn't in what you think, but in what you feel? Stay with me. You think it's about the thoughts, but it's the feelings that are doing the heavy lifting. Here's what no one's telling you. Your nervous system speaks emotion, not language. You can chant, "I am abundant," until your throat goes raw. But if your body is locked in fear every time you open your bank app, guess what frequency you're actually broadcasting? It's not the thought. It's the emotional charge beneath it. The universe, or your subconscious, if you prefer the psychological lens, doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you mean. What you believe in your bones. What you feel when no one's watching. And most people are emotionally rehearsing lack over and over without even realizing it. When you visualize your dream life but secretly feel like it's out of reach, that emotion becomes the signal. When you try to feel good but suppress anxiety or shame, that suppression becomes the static in your broadcast. When you paste gratitude over resentment, that contradiction is what gets sent out. Emotion is the frequency. Thought is just the syntax. And here's the dangerous part. If you've been taught to distrust your emotions, to silence anger, to ignore sadness, to numb fear, you've been cut off from your most powerful internal compass. That's not manifestation. That's self-abandonment dressed in spiritual language. To manifest from a place of power, you have to feel first. Not just joy, not just high vibes. You have to feel real. You have to let yourself experience the emotions you were taught to hide, so they stop running your life in the background. Because when you truly feel your way into safety, into possibility, into worthiness, that's when the needle moves. That's when your frequency actually shifts. Not just in theory, in your body, in your life. So if you're frustrated because it feels like nothing's changing, ask yourself this: are you thinking your desires, or are you feeling them into existence? The answer to that question might explain everything. But there's one more trap most people fall into, and it's the most seductive of all. It wears the mask of healing. It sounds spiritual, but it's keeping you stuck. Let's talk about it. Spiritual bypassing is the poison disguised as medicine. It tells you not to be angry, just forgive. Not to grieve, just trust the universe. Not to question, just surrender. It sounds enlightened. It feels peaceful. But it's not healing, it's hiding. And it's one of the biggest reasons your manifestations stall.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
Because here's what's really happening. You're shoving your pain into the basement, then trying to build a dream house on top of it. But the foundation is cracking. And no matter how pretty the wallpaper is, your reality keeps collapsing. You can't bypass your way to wholeness. You can't fake alignment. The universe doesn't respond to your best self. It responds to your real self. And if you're using manifestation to escape your pain instead of integrate it, you're just dressing your trauma in spiritual drag. This is where toxic positivity becomes a trap. It convinces you that being low vibrational is dangerous, so you suppress everything that isn't light and love. But suppressed emotions don't disappear, they fester. They distort your reality. They leak through your energy in ways you can't control. This is why the person doing all the right things, journaling, meditating, affirming, still feels stuck. Because underneath it all, they're using those tools like a bandage, not a blade. They're soothing the wound, not removing the infection. You want to shift your frequency? Start by telling the truth to yourself. Yes, you want more. Yes, you've been betrayed. Yes, you're angry. Yes, you're tired of pretending everything is fine. That honesty, that's sacred. That's where energy moves. That's where alignment begins. Not in the denial of shadow, but in the full embrace of it. The darkness isn't the opposite of light. It's the depth of it. You're not meant to skip over the shadows. You're meant to walk through them and come out the other side aware, whole, powerful. But awareness alone won't change your life. There's one more step, one that most people avoid because it demands something real, movement. Let's go there next. Let's drop the illusion. You're not going to meditate your way into a mansion. No amount of scripting, visualizing, or high vibes will manifest results without action. Real action. Aligned action. The kind that stretches you. The kind that feels like risk. The kind that requires you to do things differently, not just think differently. This is the part the mainstream manifestation culture conveniently forgets to mention. Because just feel good and wait sells better than take bold steps that terrify you. But the truth, the bridge between vision and reality is built with your choices. You say you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Have you launched anything? You say you want love. Have you opened your heart to rejection? You say you want to be free. Have you started saying no to what drains you? You're waiting for the universe to send you a sign. The universe is waiting for you to move. Because action is a signal. It's how you show your subconscious, your nervous system, and the field around you that you're serious. And not just any action. Aligned action. The kind that comes from the version of you you're trying to become, not the version of you that's scared to lose comfort. That's the edge. That's where transformation actually happens. Not when you feel ready, but when you move while still afraid. Every time you act differently than your conditioning, you're rewiring identity. You're proving to yourself that the old story doesn't run the show anymore. That's the secret no one glamorizes. Manifestation isn't a mood. It's a lifestyle. It's not just about attraction. It's about calibration. And calibration happens in the micro decisions. What you say yes to, what you walk away from, what you tolerate, what you initiate. You don't manifest a new life. You build it, step by uncomfortable step. And when you do, that's when the synchronicities start. That's when the miracles appear. Not because the universe suddenly noticed you, but because you finally stepped into its current. But even aligned action isn't the final code. Because your system is still filtering your world through a deeper pattern. And if you don't update that, everything else is temporary. Let's get into the algorithm behind it all. Your life isn't random. It's running on code. Not spiritual code. Not cosmic destiny. Behavioral patterns. Neurochemical loops. Thought, emotion, action cycles so embedded in your system they feel like personality. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of your identity is just a survival strategy wearing a name tag. And that strategy, it's learned. It's programmable. Which means it's also reprogrammable. The algorithm of the universe, if we strip away the mysticism, is pattern recognition. It gives you what you consistently prepare for, what you prove you're ready to hold, not what you daydream about in silence. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are, what you're calibrated to, what your nervous system can sustain without falling back into sabotage. That's why big breakthroughs often lead to breakdowns. The money comes and vanishes. The love shows up and you push it away. The opportunity arrives and you freeze. Not because you're unlucky, because your internal settings weren't updated to match the new frequency. This is the real algorithm, not some external cosmic ledger. It's your habits, your emotions, your expectations, your responses under pressure. You want to change your life, change what you normalize. Start identifying where chaos feels familiar, where struggle feels like home, where rejection feels deserved. Then do the unsexy, powerful work of rewiring daily. Not a breakthrough, not a weekend retreat, not a single breathwork session. Repetition, consistent micro shifts, new neural grooves, carved slowly, steadily, through action, feeling, and awareness. That's how you shift timelines. not through cosmic wishing, but through behavioral alchemy. And when those patterns change, when you normalize stability, peace, love, abundance, the algorithm starts feeding you a different stream of reality. It's not magic. It's alignment. Now you understand the system. But understanding doesn't mean transformation. You've got the map. Now the question is, who are you without the old story? That answer changes everything. And it's where we go next. You've been chasing outcomes. The money, the relationship, the recognition, the freedom. But here's the twist. Those things were never the goal. They were symbols, representations of a state of being you believed they would give you. Safety, validation, worth, peace. But you can't manifest those things from the identity of someone still trying to earn them. This is why it doesn't matter how badly you want it. If deep down, you still identify as someone who doesn't deserve it, your subconscious will make sure you don't keep it. Here's the final key. Manifestation doesn't respond to desire. It responds to identity. Not who you say you are, who you are when no one's watching. When the journal is closed. When the mirror is honest. When the mask drops. So ask yourself, brutally, courageously, who am I being now? And is that version of me compatible with the reality I say I want? Because the version of you who already lives that life, they're not waiting. They're not doubting. They're not negotiating their worth with the world. They've made decisions you keep avoiding. They've had conversations you're scared to start. They've dropped identities you're still clinging to because they feel safe. And that version of you isn't somewhere far away. They're buried under layers of survival and pretending. The real you, unfiltered, unarmored, is already wired for everything you've been trying to call in. You don't need more tools. You need more truth. So as you leave this video, remember, you're not failing to manifest. You're being invited to evolve. And when you finally answer that invitation, not just in thought, but in action, in emotion, in embodiment, that's when everything starts to shift. That's when your reality stops reflecting your past and starts mirroring your power. This is the sacred burn. Let it happen. Let the ego unravel. Let the story collapse. Because in that emptiness, something holy emerges. Not polished, not palatable, but raw, rooted, and real. Shame becomes humility. All of it, fuel. But first, you have to stop seeing your darkness as a problem to fix. You have to start seeing it as a portal. Think about it, the version of you that's confident, grounded, expressive, they aren't created. They're reclaimed when the masks are off. When the shadow is no longer a monster in the basement, but a part of your own reflection. What does life look like on the other side of confrontation? You'll still feel pain. But now, instead of running, you'll listen. Instead of reacting, you'll respond. Because now, it's not weakness. It's signal. Integration means you don't reject any part of yourself anymore. The part most avoid. The part most never finish. But it's the one that sets you free. Real awakening doesn't look like floating away on a cloud of incense. It looks like standing in the wreckage of your old self, covered in ash, and knowing, I'm still here.